soaring higher and longer than almost any bird on Earth. The magnificent frigatebird is a true master of the sky. With massive wings, unmatched endurance, and a life shaped entirely by wind, this bird survives where others fail. In this cinematic wildlife documentary, explore the full life journey of the magnificent frigatebird from its breathtaking flight mechanics and global migration to its unique diet, breeding behavior, and emotional responses during mate loss. Discover how this aerial predator steals food midair, sleeps while flying, and raises chicks through one of the longest parenting periods in the bird world. This film also reveals the frigatebird's role as nature's early warning system, signaling the health of oceans, forests, and fisheries that humans depend on. Climate change, plastic pollution, storms, and disappearing winds threaten its survival, making this story more urgent than ever. What you'll see in this documentary: magnificent frigatebird description and classification, habitat, migration routes and global distribution, diet, hunting strategy and aerial piracy, parenting, reproduction and lifespan, emotional reactions during mate loss, safety challenges and climate threats. Fascinating facts you've never heard before. If you love wildlife documentaries, nature films, and cinematic animal stories, this journey through the endless sky will leave you inspired. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to support wildlife storytelling. High above the endless blue, a shadow glides without a single wing beat. It is not a machine, not a dream, but a living master of the wind. The magnificent frigatebird moves through the sky as if the air itself were carrying it forward, with the largest wingspan relative to its body of any bird on Earth. It was never meant to walk, never meant to swim, only to fly. There are 5 species of frigatebirds across the world's oceans. But the magnificent frigatebird stands apart, bold, intelligent, and unmistakable in silhouette. Unlike other seabirds, it cannot land on water. Its feathers are not waterproof, and the ocean that feeds it can also claim its life. Instead, it survives by strategy and instinct, chasing other birds through the sky until fear forces them to release their catch. This is not cruelty, but evolution, millions of years of survival written into muscle and mind. Frigatebirds are masters of endurance, capable of remaining airborne for weeks at a time, even sleeping as they ride invisible highways of rising air far above the sea. During breeding season, the sky becomes a stage. The male transforms, inflating a brilliant red throat pouch like a living signal flare, calling silently for attention. Females circle above, watching, judging. One wrong movement and they are gone. Reproduction begins not with touch, but with patience, posture, and proof of strength. Birds do not experience pregnancy like mammals, yet reproduction demands sacrifice all the same. The female lays a single egg, one fragile chance balanced against the wind. No backups, no second chances. Their nests are simple, exposed structures perched on trees or cliffs, vulnerable to storms, predators, and fate itself. At first, both parents guard the egg, shielding it from heat and hunger as days stretch into weeks. Nearly 2 months pass before life finally breaks free from the shell. The chick emerges blind and helpless, its survival bound entirely to its parents. Soon, the male departs, leaving the female alone to shoulder one of the longest parenting commitments in the bird world. For more than a year, the mother must hunt, steal, and endure, flying farther and risking more with every passing day. No other bird invests so much time in a single offspring. The chick grows in size, but not in skill. Flight does not come easily. Instinct cannot be taught, and courage must be earned. When the young bird finally leaps from the nest, the first flight is terrifying. One mistake, one misjudged gust of wind, and the ocean waits below. Many fail and return bruised but alive. Then, one day, the wings hold and the sky becomes home. Frigate birds can live for more than 30 years, spending decades in motion, rarely touching land. Trees, cliffs, and even ships become temporary resting places in a life defined by movement. Though often silent in flight, they form deep emotional bonds during breeding. When a mate disappears, there is no mourning ritual, no visible grief, but absence changes behavior, focus, and flight paths. The sky feels wider, emptier. As the world changes, survival grows harder. Storms intensify. Plastic fills the ocean. The invisible wind highways they depend on begin to shift. Frigate birds are sentinels of the sea. When they struggle, the ocean itself is in trouble. Every stolen fish, every flight, plays a role in maintaining the balance of marine life. Their intelligence allows them to remember routes, rivals, and opportunities, making them not just flyers, but thinkers of the sky. Height is safety. Wind is freedom. Each new generation carries ancient knowledge written in instinct alone. Years after their first flight, the young return to the islands of their birth, ready to breed and continue the cycle. Once again, the red throat pouch inflates, hope rising like a signal against the blue. There are no vows, no promises, only instinct and trust. Even at night, they fly, guided by stars and memory, while humans watch from the ground, unaware of the silent lives unfolding overhead. The magnificent Frigatebird is not a villain, not a thief, but a survivor shaped by air and necessity. If the wind changes too much, the sky itself may fall silent. But protect the ocean, and the Frigatebird will protect the balance in return. As long as wind exists, the magnificent Frigatebird will remain the true master of the endless sky. From the highest currents of air, a living sensor watches the world below. The magnificent Frigatebird is more than a survivor. It is nature's doctor, silently reading the pulse of oceans and forests alike. Where Frigatebirds circle, fish still thrive. Where they vanish, something has already gone wrong. By targeting weak prey and taking only what the ecosystem can spare, they regulate balance without ever touching land. No medicine bottle, no scalpel-only instinct correcting imbalance. Their nesting islands quietly heal coastal forests. Nutrients fall from the sky, enriching soil, feeding plants, and strengthening ecosystems humans depend on. These birds do not rescue with compassion, but with correction. When storms pass, when oil spills poison waters, when fish stocks collapse, Frigatebirds are the first to disappear. Their absence is a warning humans too often ignore. When the sky goes quiet, collapse has already begun. Every gram of a frigatebird's body is engineered for efficiency. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is excess. Their lifestyle exists between storms, stars, and salt, in places humans cannot survive. They sleep without landing, resting in fragments, while gliding thousands of meters above the Earth. Health management in their world has no safety net. There are no doctors in the sky. Survival depends on constant motion, perfect timing, and relentless endurance. Weakness is fatal. An injured wing means the end. Parenting becomes a medical marathon. Motherhood is prolonged treatment fee. Guarding, enduring exposure without shelter. Each meal delivered to a chick comes at the cost of exhaustion. Young birds face parasites, heat stress, and starvation in open nests, exposed to every storm. Nature's immune system is unforgiving. Only the strongest survive, ensuring resilience for future generations. Rescue in nature is not about saving all, it is about refining the few. Parents do not teach flight. Instinct must awaken on its own. The first leap into the air is like surgery, successful or fatal. Below these airborne lives, human economies quietly depend on their success. Healthy frigatebird populations signal healthy fisheries. Where they thrive, oceans still provide food for millions. Their presence fuels ecotourism, sustaining coastal communities, while their nesting colonies fertilize forests, increasing biodiversity without cost or currency. As climate change alters wind patterns, survival margins shrink. The sky itself becomes a hospital ward, thermals replacing treatment, adaptation becoming medicine. There is nowhere to hide in the air. Stress leaves no visible scars, yet endurance reshapes behavior and bonds. Long separations harden instincts. There are no cries, no collapse, only continued flight. The frigatebird's life carries lessons for humanity: efficiency, endurance, balance. When they vanish, their absence is not the disease, but the symptom. Protecting them protects everything beneath their wings. Heal the oceans, restore. Its empire spans warm tropical oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian, where trade winds never sleep. These birds live without borders, guided only by wind, water, and sky. They breed on remote islands, mangroves, and sheer cliffs, places chosen for safety yet balanced constantly against danger. Their diet is built on opportunity: fish, squid. Flying fish, anything driven toward the ocean's surface, becomes a target. Rarely do they dive. Frigatebirds cannot land on water. One forced splash, one misjudged descent, can mean death. Storms turn the sky into a battlefield, while fishing lines, nets, and pollution rise as invisible threats from below. Climate change reshapes the winds they depend on, breaking ancient migration routes written into instinct. Yet they continue to travel vast distances, some crossing thousands of kilometers without landing even once. They migrate by memory and sensation, following invisible highways through the atmosphere, flying by day and by night, guided by stars and wind. Years later, they return to the islands that raised them, drawn back to familiar cliffs and trees where life once began. During breeding season, the male inflates his brilliant red throat pouch, a silent signal of strength and endurance. Pair bonds form quickly temporary but intense. Then, sometimes without warning, a mate disappears, lost to storms, hunger, or exhaustion. There is no mourning ritual, no searching cries. Survival demands movement. Still, loss leaves its mark. Flight paths change. Risks increase. Emotion exists, but it never outranks instinct. When one parent vanishes, the other continues alone. Feeding, guarding, enduring because stopping means extinction. Frigatebird chicks depend on their parents longer than any other seabird. Growing slowly, learning the sky through instinct rather than guidance. They do not breed for years, waiting until survival is nearly assured. On land, they are vulnerable, awkward, nearly helpless. In the air, they are unstoppable. Predators and invasive species threaten eggs and chicks at nesting sites, making conservation of these remote places essential. Isolation keeps them alive. For centuries, sailors followed frigatebirds to find land, trusting their presence as a sign of nearby shores. Frigatebirds teach quiet lessons. Endurance is not loud. Survival is not gentle. When migration fails, entire colonies collapse. Their future balances on wind patterns shaped increasingly by human hands. And yet, as long as they continue to fly, recovery remains possible. Each successful journey writes another chapter. Each return renews an ancient map of the sky. The routes they follow are remembered not in landmarks, but in instinct itself. As long as the wind moves and the sky remains open, the magnificent Frigatebird will endure forever, gliding as the shadow of the endless sky. If you love wildlife documentary, kindly like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified once we drop a new video.